What's up, everybody? My name's Cullen, and I'm an artist and a musician. I rap and sing under the name Cubby, and um, over the past year or so, I've been pretty seriously on like a spiritual journey, trying to understand myself and like as a person and an artist, understand what spirituality means to me. Um, and I've been working really hard at it for the last year. To give you a little context, over the last 5 years is kind of when I got pretty serious about my mental health. I had a pretty serious mental health experience, crisis, whatever you want to call it, in 2020, at the end of 2020. And um, spent most of 2021 in mental health treatment. Um, Throughout that process, I experienced some what I would call divine experiences. Unfortunately, they were diagnosed in a way that didn't really give me any validation, and I spent a lot of the next 4 years lost. Um, Anyways, I wanted to give some of that context because, yeah, it's been about a year now that I've really been serious about my spirituality. I've been creating music, well, for a long time. I was writing lyrics in high school. I didn't record anything until around the time of that mental health episode, which would have been 2020, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. And over the past 5 years, I've kind of been on and off with music. Through my spirituality, I have found a lot more access to creativity, and I've been blessed to have an amazing spiritual coach and mentor, also a great therapist, an amazing support network. So all of these things have helped me over the past year to really explore my creativity and my artistry, primarily through music, but also through different forms of writing and creation, like, I don't know, painting, collage, you name it. I've tried it. And that kind of brings me to the purpose of this video. So I was sent yesterday by my spiritual coach this video that explored Doechii's divine breakthrough, and it was a really interesting video and very inspiring. But what it opened my eyes to that I think is really cool is that Doechii has videos on her YouTube channel, her official YouTube channel, that stretch back to pre-famous Doechii. Um, Really cool stuff, literally just like this, like her sitting in front of her MacBook talking to the camera, um, real as hell. And it inspired me. And what it inspired me specifically to do was to start up the Artist Way, which I'll explain that in a second in case you're unfamiliar with it. But this is the Artist Way. It's by Julia Cameron. And it says A Course in Discovering and Recovering Your Creative Self. So this book is something I was exposed to actually back in 2021 when I was in mental health treatment in Chicago. One of the therapists there at the time was photocopying chapters of this book for me to read and to work through. And at the time, I didn't know that they were the Artist's Way. I'm sure she told me, and it never really computed. But it wasn't until years later, I mean, relatively recently, that I realized the context of those pages that she had copied for me were from The Artist's Way. So I've heard great things. I've read other stuff by Julia Cameron. I love her approach. I love the content of this book. I've listened to a lot of this book in audiobook format. But the thing is that this is really more of a workbook. It's an interactive course. There's assignments and daily and weekly things that it asks you to do. And to really get the most out of this, I believe that you have to do it. There's a lot to be gained from listening to the audiobook. Not at all. I have no regrets for how I've gone about it so far. This, to me, has been really intimidating for a long time, and I've actively resisted it. So by listening to the audiobook, I was able to get a lot of the content that is contained in these chapters without having the pressure of having to hold myself accountable to doing the activities. And I gained a lot from that. And I think that there's a lot more to be gained through working through this. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to kind of take the Doechii approach because why not? She's super inspiring. She's had a lot of success. I think we are pretty aligned in terms of spiritual beliefs and the power of tools like the Artist's Way. And I also feel like this will be a good accountability strategy for me. So yeah, I wanted to create this video today as kind of an introduction to me and an introduction to my plan and to the Artist's Way. Yeah, I really didn't go into this with a huge plan. I definitely don't have a script, but I'm going to try and keep this brief, but I might, get off topic a little bit or lose my train of thought. Yeah, to give you some background as to, some of the things I've done already with the Artist's Way, two of the core concepts and foundational activities that are part of the Artist's Way are the morning pages and the weekly artist date. So I have experience with both of these. I've actually been doing morning pages pretty routinely since mid-September of last year of 2025. I've had periods where I've taken breaks and days that I've skipped here and there, but pretty routinely since mid-September, I've done the morning pages daily. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the morning pages, it's 3 longhand stream of consciousness pages that you hand write each morning as kind of a way to declutter your mind and make space for your creative brain to thrive. I have found it really beneficial, therapeutic. I've had lots of revelations on the pages. I've also had lots of days where it has felt like pulling teeth trying to get 3 pages done. But overall, it's become part of my daily routine, and I really can't imagine life without them now. I mean, to me, it's like my morning cup of coffee and my morning pages are my morning routine. And I definitely notice on the days where I don't do them a difference. I find them very grounding and clarifying a lot of the time. Sometimes I find them very frustrating and insufferable, but I think that in itself is illuminating. There's things to be learned there. And then the artist date, when I started listening to the audiobook, which again would have been in mid-September, I was pretty inspired to do the artist date thing. My coach has also encouraged me to do that. The artist date is pretty broad, but essentially it's time that you dedicate each week to pampering or spending time with your inner artist and your inner child. So it can really be anything that nurtures that in you. Examples are like going to art museums, going, thrift shopping. You don't even have to buy anything. It's just about getting out there and feeling fabric, going to art stores and looking at art supplies, maybe buying some. I've heard an idea I love that I haven't tried is like go to a record store and just choose a random album and listen to it and just write down all the feelings and experiences that come up for you as you're listening to it. I might have just said this, but like going to a movie, you can take your inner child and your inner artist to a movie. The possibilities are endless. There are a few rules around it, primarily that you have to do it by yourself. You can't include other people, friends, spouses, taggers along, I think is what they call them in the book. It's you and your inner child. It's intentional time that's spent for you. And I'm not going to explain these things to death. It really goes into great detail on these things in here and the benefit of them, and I believe in them fully. And full transparency, I've been really inconsistent with the artist date. I've been pretty freaking consistent with the morning pages. The artist date has been a lot harder for me. And in the book, it talks about how our tendency is to make excuses and find alternative things to distract us from doing the artist date. That's really normal. But as I get into this, I want to try and take it very seriously and prioritize doing it each week. So yeah, in regard to where I'm at now, I've listened to a majority of the chapters on the audiobook. Each chapter is a week, and there's exercises contained within that week. Today is my first day, so I've reread kind of the opening parts to refresh my memory this morning, and I plan to start chapter 1 today. I'm going to read it and do the journal stuff and spend this next week focusing on it. So today is Monday, February 9th, 2026, and I'm going to be doing a Monday to Monday schedule, I think. Well, that might change, but the way Doechii kind of did her videos was at the end of each week, she would share the review, because in each chapter, there's a reflection part to fill out at the end of the week. And so I think I'm going to do something similar. You reflect on how frequently you did your pages, your artist date, what was it? There's additional questions that are tailored to the specific focus of each chapter. And so my plan is to hopefully do a video like this each week. Yeah, I'm going to try and make this low pressure, low stakes. I think the more complicated I make it, the less likely I am to actually stick with it. So yeah, a video like this, more or less unedited and unscripted, is going to be the play. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to mention in here. I guess for anyone who's unaware, because I understand as a creative that reading books on creativity can seem strange, and some people have doubts about it, which I totally understand. I personally have had a lot of luck reading books on creativity. For me, it has helped to get other people's perspectives on creativity and the creative process. I like learning about how other people work and interpret things. Two of my favorite books on creativity that I constantly return to are The Creative Act by Rick Rubin and Big Magic by Liz Gilbert. Both books are incredible, and they explore creativity as an idea. And I've gained a lot from reading those, a lot of perspective. It's changed my view on what creativity is and helped me understand the connection to spirituality, because I think creativity and spirituality and humanity, all these things are one and the same. And what I like about this book is that it incorporates all of this. And rather than teaching you how to be creative, this book, that's not what it claims to do. It teaches you how to create space for yourself to be creative. And it gives you a framework to nurture the things inside of yourself that will support your creativity. And that, to me, can be taught and can be practiced. And so, yeah. Actually, I'm just now looking at the back of this book. I just noticed that Liz Gilbert is quoted on the back of this book. A fascinating and fun 12-week-long program of exercises and explorations to help you loosen up your artistic self. 3 times in the last decade, I've committed to doing the artist way, and each time I've learned something important and surprising about myself and my work. Without the artist way, there would have been no Eat, Pray, Love. So yeah, I'm probably going to cut it here. I don't really know what I've said so far. I kind of was just speaking, and which is the goal, but I don't want to make this too long. So I'm going to cut it here, and I look forward to the next 12 weeks. And I hope that you'll follow me on this journey and maybe be inspired to participate yourself. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. I'm excited and I'm feeling motivated. And I realize that this might change, this energy, but I'm going to try and push through it and stick with this for the whole 12 weeks because I think there's a lot to be gained here. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, let's see where this goes. Peace. Bye.